Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Friday the 23rd of May 2025. Well, today has been fun, hasn't it? We've had a jolly old time talking about the situation that came out last night regarding the Saudi Arabian potential investor, takeover. What's going on? Well, we do have a little bit more. We don't really have any new news, but we've got a bit of clarity, shall we say. So let's have a look then. We're going to start off with this. This is from Talksport.com. This is new. Was it published the 22nd of May? Updated the 22nd of May. So this was actually out last night. But I missed it. They've got the piece. Obviously, he was mentioned in the Daily Mail piece that he had told him, if I was you, I would buy Sheffield Wednesday. Okay. So, we'll get back to that in a minute. So let's have a read of this. Talksport.com. Turki, Alalshikh has sent the rumour mill into overdrive, having commented underneath a Millwall social media post. It coincided with a bombshell report from the Daily Mail that claimed the Saudi boxing chief has held talks with Millwall regarding a potential takeover of the club. However, the report added Millwall insists the club is not up for sale and shot down accusations of any discussions had been had involving Alalshikh. TalkSport understands multiple English clubs have sounded out Alalshikh over a potential takeover since he sold Spanish club Almeria to a Saudi investment group on May the 16th. More on that in a minute. On Tuesday, Millwall posted on X and asked fans to send their favourite pictures and videos from when the club won the 2017 League One playoff final against Bradford City at Wembley. 2 days later, Alalshikh replied in the comment section with a fire emoji as well as a lion emoji, a nod to the club's nickname of the Lions. Fans were quick to respond to Alalshikh's post as many implored him to buy the club. One fan wrote, "Buy Millwall, we welcome you here." Another said, "Nearest club to the City of London. The potential and corporate is on another scale if in the right hands." A third posted, "Legend, do us a favour, mate." Millwall is owned by Millwall Holdings Limited and is chaired by James Berylson, who took over from his father John in 2023 after he tragically passed away in a motor vehicle accident. Reports of Alalshikh's discussions with Millwall comes after TalkSport host Simon Jordan revealed the 43-year-old had been looking for a way into English football. So yeah, they've got the post here. So this is what's gone on here. So Millwall put this out. Send in your favourite photos and videos from a wonderful Wembley win back in 2017. And this is what he put. Now, the time of this, 7:37 p.m. May 22. The story from the Daily Mail, I believe it came out about 8:30, because I was around about that time, I was doing one last check to see if there were any new news as I was building the stories to feature in yesterday's video. So, what it looks like now. What does that mean? It means to me that Alalshikh, how do you call it, Turkey? Alalshikh. I'll say Alalshikh, if even that's not right, because I've said it about 5 different ways so far. Alalshikh. He's posted this an hour before the Daily Mail's story has come out because he knew it was coming out. Why did he know it was coming out? Because he asked them to write the story, or that specific writer to write the story. He told him to write the story, gave him, here's a bit of news for you. Maybe you want to put this in the paper. Or he even paid them to write the story. Ka-ching, why not? But So not only that, so he did do that, but he reposted this post as well. So what's happened is he's just gone on. What's the latest post from Millwall? Okay, this one. Let's repost this. Let's comment on this. And that's what he's done. It's not like, he went down to like the statement from Sean Hutchinson saying, "Oh, we're going to miss you, Big Hutch, loved watching you play for the club. Sad to see you go." He didn't do any of that. So it's bare minimum stuff to generate publicity, because he wants to buy a club in this country. He has the money, and we'll get into that in a minute, because he sold the club that he owned in Spain, and he wants to buy in England. So if Millwall have turned him down, he needs to generate publicity so that everyone knows, hey, there's a sheikh in town who wants to buy a football club. Shall we go and have a word? So there you go. So Alalshikh, who is the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority in Saudi Arabia. So that's the state one. So there's various different information, different companies involved, shall we say. The boxing one, that's that one there. And that's connected to the Saudi Arabian state, the government. What's happening now is himself, his own money, or consortium of him and other people. So they've poured millions into hosting high-profile events in his homeland, and is estimated to be worth £2.14 billion. So that's the boxing. He's been out in Riyadh, which was kind of weird, but it's good for us in terms of the time, because having the boxing matches in Las Vegas, having to stay up till 4 a.m. is a bit of a piss take. So having them over that way, out in the Middle East, in terms of time of watching the boxing, is a lot better. So Jordan was asked, Simon Jordan, not the stripper, was asked about links between him and a potential takeover of embattled Championship side Sheffield Wednesday. The former Crystal Palace owner was quick to pour cold water on the notion, but revealed Alalshikh had been searching for a potential team to invest in and had suggested taking over the house. And there's a quote there. I'm not going to read that, and the reason why I'm not going to read that, because we're going to listen to it. So, should Alalshikh continue to pursue Millwall, he would take over a team that fell agonising short of the Championship playoffs this term. Alex Neil's side ultimately finished the season in 8th on 66 points, too shy of 6th place Bristol City. It marked the 4th time in the last 8 seasons Millwall had finished 8th in the second tier. Bosh, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Right, so we're going to have a listen to this. So, we're going to watch it. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you for doing that while I'm fucking recording. You fucking cunt. Right. We're going to watch this. TalkSport have started this year. They're putting out video content. They've got their own app on smart TVs, but they do on YouTube. They put everything on YouTube. It's all videoed at the same time that the radio is going on. So, and you can go back and you can watch, radio shows that maybe you listened to in the radio and you wanted to see something happened in the studio. What happened there? Or what does this guy look like? He sounds a bit weird. So we'll see. But yeah, so we're going to listen to this. So hopefully it comes through. If it doesn't, oh well.
I was asked. It's an interesting conversation. I had the same conversation without being too indiscreet with Turki Alalshikh, because they're looking around at other things to do.
What?
And whilst I would prefer English clubs to be owned by English people, because I've got a great pride in my own country, that ship has sailed, that horse has bolted. So when I'm asked by these guys, what English football club would you advocate for us to buy? I said, if you're not going to buy one of the legacy clubs, of which there's 3 in this country, which is Liverpool, Arsenal and Man United, the next one down off the rank is Tottenham. See if you can get a big deal out of Daniel for that, because that's a spaceship that perhaps just needs a new captain. But if I were buying a football club and I was really motivated and I had your kind of dough, I would buy Sheffield Wednesday.
You put that to them?
Well, I've told them that, yeah.
And?
Well, we'll see what they do. They're captains of their own ship, aren't they? Be careful what you wish for. We've already got enough foreign investment in our football clubs, but if this is the direction of travel, that's the way I would go, because I think there's a huge... Yeah, Leeds...
Why Sheffield Wednesday?
Because it's got scale. It's a big football club. There's a reason why Hillsborough was used forever and a day up until a point as the stadium that FA Cup semi-finals were played at. I know there was tragedies there, but I've been to that club. I've watched it. I've seen the fan base. I know that they can, perhaps the Saudis can look across the city at Sheffield United and think their mate who owned that particular football club hasn't had the greatest of times over there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a powerhouse. And I think if you got that right, as I said to him, they'd put a bloody statue of you in the town. You buy a London Football Club, and I know they're thinking of a couple, and I'm not going to tell you who they are. You've got a whole raft of challenges. You buy a powerhouse like Sheffield Wednesday that's in Yorkshire, not just Sheffield, whatever you think of that area, but Sheffield Wednesday inside Yorkshire as a football club that could be garnered and pushed forward. No disrespect to Chansiri, but for somehow or another, he's managed to steal defeat from the jaws of victory with this powerhouse of a football club.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to think sometimes when you went in their boardroom and they had strange policies that you weren't allowed to bring this person in, there was no women in the boardroom and all that sort of stuff, and some people might advocate for that. I don't. I think good people should be wherever they need to be. But there was an antiquated feel about it at times. But that is a powerhouse of a football club that if you got hold of it and got people in that knew what they were doing with every aspect of it, from the way that you communicate to the fans, to the way you develop your development policies, to the energy you can put behind it, you could get that club really going.
Can you give us an inkling of the reaction you got from Turki Alalshikh?
Listen, they are very bright people. They're not just bright people because they've got a few quid. They work things out. What they're doing is kicking the tires, asking people questions, getting everyone around them, whether it's me or Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn and Frank and Eddie are in their pockets. I'm not doing that because that's not my game. And maybe I'll develop relationships with them, maybe I won't. But what they're doing is they're getting everybody in, probably playing everyone against the middle, trying to find the information out and see who they can manipulate.
Okay.
That's what people with...
Right. So you've heard it there. He mentioned 2 London clubs, but he didn't mention who they were. He's not going to name that, but you see it there. And, now this clip was attached to this story that was put up yesterday, but this clip isn't from yesterday. This clip is from about a month ago. You can tell that from the ticker that's going along at the bottom. They're advertising games that are due to take place. Obviously, the season has ended now. So this is 3, maybe 4 weeks old, this clip. So, there you go. Now, who could that be? Obviously, one of them may be Millwall. One of them almost certainly is QPR. And, maybe Leighton Orient has been mentioned as well. Another thing to factor in that why he wants to buy a club in London is the possibility of hosting boxing events in London. He wants a sporting arena to host boxing events in London. Apparently they're not happy with the O2 Arena for some reason. I don't know whether it's the fees or what, or whether they're not really accommodating them in the way they want to be accommodated, but that is another factor in the reason why they're looking in London to buy a club to host boxing stuff. So there you go. So let's move on from that. So you've heard that. So they are looking, it is something that's happening. Now, we've got this from this website, EFLanalysis.com. Now, these type of websites, they are clickbait websites, but to be fair to them on this, they've done very well with this piece here. They've put a lot of effort into this, a lot of research, and they've kind of collated everything together. So even though I have dragged on this specific website and others like it in the past, they've actually done a pretty good job here. So let's have a read of this. Who is Turki Alalshikh, the billionaire investor told to buy Sheffield Wednesday and linked to Millwall? Turki Alalshikh is said to have shown interest in buying an EFL Championship club, with Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday both muted. Talk of a Sheffield Wednesday takeover has been ramping up in 2025 after several years of struggling under John Chansiri. We revealed exclusively that there is interest in Sheffield Wednesday from Saudi Arabia as well as America. Now the Daily Mail have reported that Simon Jordan told Turki Alalshikh to buy the Owls when the latter asked about purchasing an English club. It's also understood that Alalshikh has held talks with Millwall over potential investment in the Lions. So here is everything you need to know about the man in question, including his net worth and more. Net worth. According to the most recent report on the figure published by Marca, which is a Spanish newspaper, Turki Alalshikh has a net worth of 2.8 billion US dollars, which is around 2.1 billion English pounds. He was born on August the 4th, 1981, making him 43 years old. He was born in Saudi Arabia and attended the King Fahd Security College. He is not a prince. He acts as an advisor to the Saudi royal family and is referred to as His Excellency, as an agent of the royal family, as extended members of the Saudi royal family are. Boxing stuff. So Alalshikh is the chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority and controls some of the biggest boxing fights in the country. However, he is now planning his first event out of the Middle East, which will take place on August the 3rd in Los Angeles. Ahead of that fight, he revealed to ESPN that he plans to fix the problems in boxing, saying, "We carefully planned our activities for the last 6 months. We are spending the money to commercialise our season and at the same time to test the market and know all the secrets about the market. And now we have a lot of information and we have our own studies, and we think from what we've tested in the last 6 months there is big opportunity in boxing, but you must improve the market and you must fix all the problems." So there you go. Dana White. TKO Group, which includes the UFC ran by Dana White, signed a partnership deal with Alalshikh's Riyadh season and are set for their first event on September the 13th. However, after White was originally expected to promote the event, which is headlined by Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, Alalshikh has since announced, as per Sports Illustrated, that Seller will do so. I don't know what that is. Alalshikh became owner of Almira in 2019. He purchased the club for a fee of 20 million euros when they were in the second tier of Spanish football. They won promotion to La Liga in 21-22 season, but suffered relegation in 23-24. So they literally had one season in the top flight. He's on Twitter and he's on Instagram. They've even given us, he's 6 foot tall apparently, 1.83 meters tall. There are rumours that he's married, but obviously, you know, if she's wearing one of those things that cover them up, how can you tell? Like, how do they know where their wives are? Like, they all look the same. I imagine you probably go home with the wrong wife every now and then. You pull the veil up and you go, "Hey, you're not my wife. Where's my wife?" So yeah. That should be fun. I'm sure it's all fun and games. Right, so we got this from the other side. This is from the New Arab. I don't know what this is. I think it might be out of Qatar or something like that. But it's an English website, news website from Arabia. Right. So it's at newarab.com. English club Millwall FC rubbishes reports of takeover by Saudi boxing mogul Turki Alalshikh. English football club Millwall was denied a recent report that Saudi Arabia is set to invest in the championship side. Millwall told the New Arab. Did they tell them? Maybe they did. Maybe they emailed them. That there is no substance regarding any takeover talks and stressed that the club is not for sale. Well, that's just the quotes that was in the Daily Mail. They didn't tell the New Arab. That's just from the Daily Mail. And recent speculation of Saudi interest in the side. On Thursday, the UK Daily Mail tabloid said the South East London club was in talks with Turki Alalshikh, the Saudi General Entertainment Authority chairman who has spearheaded the country's investment in boxing and other entertainment fields. But again, it's not that. He does run that. But apparently it's separate from that. It's not the Saudi government. It's him himself. Which is the situation at Almira. Which, again, even though we've mentioned it, we got even more news about that in a minute. So Alalshikh was also the owner and president of Spanish second division club Almira until last week. And here we go. He sold Almira last week. And previously, owned the Egyptian club Pyramids from 2018 to 2019. Remember that, because that's going to come up. He also served as Saudi Pro League side Al Tawun's honorary president. The report suggested that Millwall and several other English sides are vying to secure Saudi investment akin to the 2021 Saudi Public Investment Fund takeover of Newcastle United. The PIF owns 85% of the club, while Saudi Arabian businessman Yasir Al-Ramayan chairs the Magpies, as they are nicknamed. Speculations of a Saudi takeover were fueled after Alalshikh replied and reacted to several Millwall FC posts on social media on Thursday. Again, he did that before the story came out. Okay, so he knew it was coming out. The rumours were also heightened after Daily Mail sport columnist Simon Jordan claimed Alalshikh had asked him about purchasing an English football club. And again, this is a month old. He was asking him this while he still owned Almira. Okay. He advised them to buy Sheffield Wednesday, who finished 4 places below Millwall in the Championship. Millwall FC has continued to be owned by Millwall Holdings since 2007, after John Berylson took over the club. Berylson's son James currently chairs Millwall following the death of his father in 2023. Alalshikh has an estimated net worth of $2.8 billion. His tenure as the Entertainment Authority's chairman has seen him broker several boxing matches and have them held in the Gulf Kingdom. The Saudi businessman has also ventured into the world of cinema and has worked to expand Saudi Arabia's entertainment, sports and tourism sectors as part of the Vision 2030 initiative. The scheme aims to diversify Saudi Arabia's economy to steer away from reliance on oil production. And part of that, he put up a video up on his Twitter today, talking to the camera, and he's basically celebrating that they won an Emmy for some kind of promotional film that they made. They won an Emmy. Right. However, Riyadh's hosting of sporting and entertainment events, as well as attracting high-profile footballers from Europe to its league, has been labelled as sports washing in a bid to distract from its poor human rights record. So there you go. There is that from the newarab.com. Now let's get on to this. UD Almira. UD, what does that mean? It means Union Deportivo, okay? We're not going to get into the whole thing. This is from Wikipedia, right? So we're going to get down to my man, Alalshikh, Turki Alalshikh. On the 2nd of August 2019. So what's happened? What did I tell you before? He owned an Egyptian team from 2018 to 2019. So he owns a club in Egypt, sells it, goes to Spain, buys a club in Spain. He's now sold that, and we'll see that in a minute. He became the owner of the club, replacing Gabaron. He appointed Mohammed El Assay, which that kind of sounds Egyptian. They have EL in their names rather than Al. As general director, and then some Spanish players as sporting directors and stuff like that. 2021, they agreed a lease for a 25 period for the stadium. In June 2022, the club achieved promotion to the first division by sealing a first position. They won the league on the very last match day of the season after spending 7 years in the second tier. So there you go. In 23-24, they started the season with a record of 28 league games without a win. Well, that's not good. They got relegated that season. So yeah, they were in the league for 2 years, and then they got relegated. They went 28 games from the start of the season without a win. So they were absolute fucking dog shit. In May 2025, Almira underwent a significant ownership change. So that's this month. That's literally last week, this month. With Saudi investment consortium SMC Group, led by Mohammed Al-Khariji, acquiring the club from Turki Alalshikh. So he sold it on to another Saudi group. So there you go. He did win them the league, the second division. But then after that, nah, not so much, because now you're up with the big boys. You got to, you got to compete with big teams in that division. It's insane. But they did last a couple of years. They avoided getting relegated for a couple of seasons. So yeah, this is from 6 days ago. This is from BE Soccer, so besoccer.com. I don't know what that is, but I found this story there. It's La Liga 2 news. Almeria is featuring Saudi hands after ownership shift. Almeria officially confirmed a change in ownership on Friday. So this is last Friday, not today. So a week ago, marking the beginning of a new chapter for the Andalusian club, a Saudi investment consortium led by SMC Group, with Mohammed Al-Khariji as its public face, has taken over from Turki Alalshikh at the helm of the Spanish side. And this is apparently written in English. Well, it doesn't. Looks like it's translated, but no. A fresh era begins at the Power Horse Stadium. The club announced that SMC Group, a prominent Saudi investment firm, has acquired full ownership rights, ushering in a new direction for the Roja Blancas under the leadership of Al-Khariji. And it says, UD Almeria confirms that a final agreement has been reached for the complete transfer of ownership to a Saudi investment group led by SMC Group, a leading company in sectors such as media, advertising and technology across the Middle East. The consortium includes prominent investors, notably the Abna Al-Teeb Group. The transaction follows the completion of all contractual terms with the club's previous owner, His Excellency Turki Alalshikh, and is now in the final stages of regulatory approval from La Liga and other relevant authorities. So it hasn't gone through yet. The acquisition marks a strategic transition aimed at building upon the club's progress in developing a modern, sustainable and operationally sound investment model. The new ownership is committed to strengthening the club's presence both on and off the pitch. Mr. Mohammed Al-Khariji will assume the role of chairman of the board with extensive experience in media, advertising and sports investment. He brings a forward-thinking leadership approach focused on innovation, commercial growth and long-term value creation. So long-term. So it seems that this guy, he was a year at the team in Egypt. He's been 6 years at this Almeria, the Al-Sheikh guy, and now he's moving on to a club in England. So he's there for a short time, not a good time, not a long time. And it seems the new guys now in Almeria, they're there for the long term. UD Almeria assures it supports members, sponsors and local institutions. That its new phase signals a strong commitment to the club's future. The incoming owners aim to build on the foundations already laid and continue to drive in progress that will benefit both the club and the wider Almeria community. So there you go. Not really, not really any bad mouthing of the old regime that's selling up. Just talking about, the new guys coming in and how good that's going to be. Now, why is our man, Turki Alalshikh, or whatever his name is, why is he going from one club, selling it, going on to another club, and then selling that and moving on to another club? Because there are rules in place about multi-club ownership, and I guess it's just easier for him if he doesn't have to deal with that. If he doesn't have to deal with that kind of thing. This is from 442, you may remember, it's a magazine, it's still going, but this is their website, www.442.com, written out, not in numerals. A guide to multi-club ownership, how does it work? Now, we're not going to go through all this, but this was published literally on the 19th of May 2025, the same day that my man Turki Alalshikh, whatever he's at, Shaking Stevens, sold the club in Spain. Multi-club ownership is exactly what it sounds like. Football clubs that have affiliate clubs all under the umbrella of one person or company. So there's rules against it. Well, there's not rules against it, but there's things you have to do that make it more complicated. So, here we go, more bloody paperwork and red tape. I can't be bothered. I'm a bloody billionaire. I can't be bothered with all this shit. So it's increasingly common in football, with plenty of big money owners splashing out to take control of several clubs around the world. Take Red Bull, for instance. They give you wings, but they also have varying stakes in Leeds United, FC Liefering, New York Red Bulls, Paris FC, RB Leipzig, TV Omiadja, Red Bull Bagatino, and Red Bull Salzburg. Several English clubs are also part of similar models to different degrees, including Manchester City, Chelsea, Manchester United, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and, well, loads more, including down in the lower leagues. So what are the rules? Well, can you own 2 clubs in the same league? Not in England, you can't. Certainly not at the Premier League and EFL level. Exactly. The EFL owners and directors test will automatically disqualify directors who hold an interest in more than one club within the EFL, while the Premier League's own rules say that no person may either directly or indirectly be involved in or have any power to determine or influence the management or administration of more than one club. While that only applies within each league, the FA have an overarching rule with the same wording as the Premier League that applies to the entire English football period. This is some suggestion that one person company could own a stake of less than 25%, which would not represent significant control of any one club. But that hasn't been tested yet, I don't think. It's... we'll have to see about that. That's a higher threshold than is set by the UEFA. Their rules mean a majority owner of one club could have less than 50% stake in another club playing in the same competition. And that's the lowest bar available, though, and it's up to individual countries' FA to decide if they want to be stricter. So I don't know what the Spanish FA rules are. So it may be that the rules in Spain that you can't do that, because if we go up and go through this list, I don't think any of these clubs are Spanish, are they? I don't think that's Spanish. Omyi, Ardioja, Bragantino, I think that might be Argentina, isn't it? So maybe they have rules in Spain that you can't be a multi-club owner. In which case, if he wants to own a club in England, he's got to sell up in Spain. And he's thought, well, I've won the league, I'm selling up, I'm going to England, bosh. Brexit means Brexit. Can 2 clubs from the same ownership compete in Europe? Not really. So there are rules. It says that each pair of clubs could compete in the same continental competition as long as, the rules are there. So there you go. And this is why Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Marinikas recently officially ceased to be a person of significant control at the club. Because obviously Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest, they could both be in Europe next season. So he had to decide, what am I going to do? So that's the UEFA rules. Do clubs from the same ownership share resources, and are they allowed to? Well, as far as we can tell, there's nothing to stop them from sharing scouting info and things like that, as long as they're not in the same European competition as one another. UEFA are keen to ensure that clubs remain independent from one another. To that end, they got a commitment from City Football Group and Ineos that they will not transfer players to one another until September 2025, nor would they conclude any kind of cooperation, joint technical or commercial agreements between each other, or use any joint scouting or player database. It seems likely that they will ask for a similar commitment from any other clubs who face a similar situation in the future. So it seems that for UEFA to let these teams into Europe compete in competitions, they said, look, this is what you need to do these things, or not do these things. And then they agreed. But that's just up till September 2025. What happens after that? I don't know. What's to stop clubs from the same ownership transferring players to each other for free? 3 words: associated party transactions. So, again, I'm not going to read all this, but there are rules against multi-club ownership, and these are just the English and UEFA rules. I don't know what the Spanish FA rules are. They're probably against it, which is why he said he had to sell Almira, but he sold it to another Saudi consortium. Now, here's the thing: is he part of that consortium, but just in a smaller role? Does he have a smaller percentage? We don't know. So there you go. What are we on now? Oh yeah, we're moving on now. That's it about the new guy, Alalshikh, Turki Alalshikh. We're moving on from that. Now this was put up on the Twitter today, but this is from YouTube. I've just put it on here so I can show you. This is from Ravensbourne Valley Residents, a residents association that basically they set themselves up to basically complain about planning stuff. Basically, that's all they do, really, from what I can see. So, this is what they said. Yesterday, Millwall added a second storey to a building at the training ground in Calmont Road. It is not clear whether this has planning permission, and we have asked Lewisham to investigate. Now, this is interesting. The angle of these photographs, it would suggest that someone has taken these from over the fence. So someone on the houses opposite, from their top window, has taken these photographs. And if I was to wonder who that was, it would be the woman who complained earlier in pre-season that the drainage works happening at Calmont Road were going on until 4 a.m, keeping her awake, which is kind of weird, but I made a video about it at the time. You have to go back, but the things that she was saying, they didn't add up. To be fair, there were people working there like all through the night until 4 a.m. Don't know about that. So it looks like the same woman. She's taking pictures. What's going on here? The club may have done something wrong, and they may be in a bit of trouble. I don't know. So, now it's funny that this residents association, or I don't know if it's even association, I think to use the word association, you need to have like articles of association. I think it's basically just it might just be one geezer and a website, you know what I mean? But we go to the website, they got a website, and you can tell, you can tell what kind of people they are, because you can see here that we've started using Blue Sky as a healthier version of Twitter. So that's the kind of people that they are, Basically, they're Trump derangement syndrome people. So if we go down to the 21st of April 2025, they're happy. They're happy about Millwall. Millwall FC announced that they've purchased a freehold to the Calmont Road site. This probably means that residents can relax, because it now seems unlikely that there is any plan to redevelop the site of housing that could have caused change. Full details on the club site. So they're happy. They're happy that Millwall have got the freehold to Calmont Road. But then, they can't actually build anything on it. That's not, oh no. Even though this is, literally, you can see this is zoomed in. So, and it's a grass area opposite from their houses that they can't go onto. And this is barely used at all. But, they're still moaning. So, I've mentioned this before, but I don't, because, I think people at the club do watch these videos every now and then. Obviously, I doubt they're subscribed, but I'm sure that they do. I think they do watch the channel every now and then, because things that I've said and complained about have been kind of like subtly changed on the website. So I think they do. And I have mentioned this before, but so Lewisham planning.lewisham.gov.uk. There isn't a planning application for what they've just done there. There is, however, a planning application from 4 years ago. And this is it here. The siting of a single modular building for a temporary period of 4 years to accommodate a gymnasium and medical treatment room at Millwall Football Club training ground, Calmont Road, BR1 4BZ. Bosh. Right, so here's the numbers. There's the case number, whatever. The application was received on Monday the 12th of April 2021. Application validated on Monday the 19th of April 2021. Why does it take 7 days? I don't know, but there you go. It was granted. They decided, yes, okay, you can do this. The decision date was for the Thursday the 27th of May 2021. Probably trying to rush it out for the bank holiday weekend. Right, so that's the application there, right, for the original thing 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Now, for a temporary period of 4 years. Oh, hang on. 2021, 4 years ago, period of 4 years. Yeah, they need to move it. As in, get rid of it. It's a temporary thing. So, these are the documents that are there. And we're going to look at the top one, the decision notice. Here we go. Dear Kindred, how are you doing? Right, so this is the letter sent to Millwall's building company, CBRE. Permission for development. Notice is hereby given, etc., 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 blah, 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 blah. Conditions. The development shall be carried out strictly in accordance with the application plans as approved in the application. And that's to ensure the development is carried out in accordance with the approved documents, plans and drawings submitted with the application and is acceptable to the local planning authority. The temporary structure hereby permitted shall be removed and the land restored. Restored. Not add another level to it. It will be removed and restored on or before the 27th of May 2025. That is in 4 days' time. But in accordance with a scheme of work to be submitted to and approved in writing by the local planning authority. Have they done this? Now, if they did do this, would this show up on the planning application? This is a planning application from 4 years ago. It's not a new planning application. They don't have to apply for a new planning application because it's not a planning thing. They're unplanning, shall we say, and they're removing. But they haven't removed it. They've added to it. Now, did they go to the council about saying, oh, yeah, so did they go to the council for a scheme of work and say, hey, can we extend this? Can we get another 4 years? Can we get another 5 years? Can we, add another level to it? Maybe they did do that. Maybe it's not showing up on this planning thing, but you would imagine that it should be attached on this, and it should be a document. Or there should be another document added to this thing here saying, May 2025. It has been decided that we have extended the local planning authority has decided to extend this for another 4 years, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, but we don't know that, and nothing's coming up. So maybe they have. But the reason the type of building is not such as the local planning authority is prepared to approve other than for a limited period in view of its appearance in the interest of visual amenity of the area and in accordance with policy 15 high quality design for Lewisham of the core strategy, DM policy 30 urban design and local character development management local plan and policy G3 of the London plan, no less. Indeed, why not? So here's the thing. I'm more likely to understand that the club have fucked this up just because, previous things that the club have fucked up. Euro ferries, Husky, various other things that haven't gone, business deals, shall we say, that haven't worked out. Whose responsibility is this? Do they even know? Do we still use CBRE? Was there a thing in the calendar saying, look, in 4 years' time, this is a thing that needs to be sorted out? We don't know. But they've added to it, so you would imagine that if they're doing work on it, maybe they've approved that. They've gone to Lewisham and said, but that's just not showing up in Lewisham's thing, because it's not part of a planning application per se, because this is a registry, just for a planning application, although technically this is part of this, so you would imagine that it would show up here, but it hasn't yet. So again, we wait to see, come the 27th of May, if anyone's out there, Southern News, South London Press, you want to call up Lewisham Planning and ask them, have they proved this or what? I don't know. Maybe we'll wait for old the nosy neighbour to have a little demonstration or whatever they're going to do. A rallying for people to contact Lewisham and complain. But we're about to find out, aren't we, if the club have fucked this up. But, yeah, that should be fun. I wonder if the Sheikh has got connections in Lewisham planning office. I don't know. But there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.